This week's show brought to you by Frank Shoup, Georgetown's big name in cars. Welcome back, everybody, to the Georgetown News Graphic Coaches Show, the Scott County Cardinals Coaches Show with football coach Jim McKee here. We're here to first break down last week's game up at Fort Thomas Highlands, which was a wild one, to say the least. You guys got off to a flying start, and then the comeback. And then the second comeback in turn by you guys to put it away. Just talk a little bit about your thoughts on that game, having watched the film, and what you guys did well to turn it around in your favor.
Well, first off, Cal, appreciate you guys being out here again today, and just finished up practice on Tuesday night, and kids went without their shoulder pads for the first 30 or 40 minutes. I think the heat index was like 96 or 97 when we started, and look, just always amazes me about football season that we'll be out here in a big coat doing this. That's some of the neat things.
It's only 2 or 3 months, but it seems like you get 3, if not all 4 seasons in one.
Yeah, you do. You really do. So, but obviously, if you go to Fort Thomas Highlands and win, that's something to be very proud of. They have a great tradition. But obviously, when you're realistic with yourself too, Fort Thomas Highlands and Pulaski County are not at the level of the Elite 6A team. So, if we're going to have a chance to make a big push in our district and a big push in our region and ultimately make it to Bowling Green and hopefully play for the 6A state championship, we're going to have to play a lot better. I think we have yet to, you've seen the 3 games, and, we're a long way away from putting a complete game together. And we're going to lose some games sooner than later if we don't start putting complete games together.
You were right about the atmosphere. You talked last week about the atmosphere before Thomas. Awesome. And it's one of those places where when the home team gets on a little bit of a roll, it can go south for you in a hurry.
Yeah, it's really a neat place to play, and it's a fun thing for kids. And just like last year when we went to the pit, that's a fun thing for kids. Next year we're going to play at Cincinnati LaSalle, which is a very similar type situation. So those are things that, gosh, years ago I would have not have wanted any part of it. I would have been trying to done everything I could to find somebody close and local that we had a great chance to win against. But now you understand that putting your kids in those kind of tough environments is the right thing to do.
The pit being Elder's home field.
We're going to play a JV game there on the 17th of September.
A little bit of a fishbowl, to say the least. Yeah. About 10,000 seats circling the. Is there any way to prepare a team for that kind of atmosphere?
Well, last year, when we played them, there is some YouTube stuff of their fans, and we showed them some of that stuff, but no, you just got to go get in them. It's kind of like dancing. I'm not a very good dancer, but I would always try to find a pretty girl and ask her to dance, and figured the more times that I dance, the better I might get at it, where I could actually function. And so you just got to keep going out there.
And you got kind of the shock out of your system of playing them last year. Now a better situation, I would think, having them come to your place and the familiar territory and get into your Friday night routine and be able to host them on your turf.
Well, I think it's a great tribute to, everything that's good about football in our community. It's going to be Youth League football night. All 3 of our middle schools are off to solid starts. Our freshman teams had running clocks in the first 2 games by halftime. Our JV's 2-0. Hopefully the weather cooperates, and it should be just a great night to celebrate the game of football. And our biggest focus with our kids is, we lost up there 35-17 last year, and I think not every kid or every parent or every fan, but there were a considerable amount of people that were like, man, we halfway played them close.
And that's not something that you can be satisfied with, or your
kids
kids
if we play them within 14, we'll have the moral victory pizza party after the game.
Is there some mystique in playing a team from another state or a big city like that? I
think the first thing that comes into football is great talent. Yeah. And if you follow Georgia high school football, for example, Grayson High School has won a big school state championship down there. They're ranked in the top 10 in the nation right now. And they've only been a school about 9 years. So how can Grayson High School, who has 0 football tradition, be in the top 10 in the nation? Great players. 7 or 8 SEC commits. But what happens then with somebody like Elder or Trinity or Highlands or, to some degree us, if your talent level's not great, but your tradition, mystique, and all that it'll add a couple touchdowns to you. Probably won't let you beat Grayson, but it'll add a couple touchdowns. And that's what Elder, and they're really well coached. They play really hard.
Talk about the name on the front of the uniform means something in sports, and that's an example of it, where you kind of have that confidence.
But it means more to adults than it does kids. Yeah. A lot of our kids, our kids are interested in our Twitter feed. I mean, I guarantee you, that's where you get probably the most hits and reads on your articles and stuff like that with Scott Cain Football's off Twitter. And you and I are interested in reading about the 1976 Elder team that went 15-0 or whatever, and kids aren't that interested.
And the world's a smaller place because of that now. Elder is not this big isolated place.
Yeah,
they've
would
seen
be
it.
Surprised if we played nervous. Yeah. We might. We dropped a couple snaps up there last year that were very uncharacteristic. I don't think Josh and Colby fumbled a snap in 13 games last year except the 2 up there. And, the first one that we fumbled, we're 7-7 on their 20-some yard line going in to make it 14-7 late in the first quarter, and we dropped a snap. So I'd be surprised if we played nervous. I'll tell you what, I'm like I said last week, I don't plan on coaching forever, but as long as I am the coach, I'm going to keep on putting them in those situations. And, it only helps them. Like I said, next year we go to LaSalle. Cincinnati Moeller comes here. If you're a historian, you know the Jerry Faust who went from Moeller to Notre Dame and all that kind of stuff. So that's the fun stuff about our program right now and where we are.
Did put the ball on the ground 3 times up at Fort Thomas. Probably safe to say you can't do that on Friday night against the team.
Probably would have been close to a running clock if we don't turn the ball over up there Friday.
Yeah.
And no, we have 0 chance to win.
Yeah.
If we lay it down 3 times and all 3 of them, the other team recovers, we obviously won't win.
Well, good luck Friday night. This should be a fun one, fun atmosphere, good opponent, and should be a great night.
It should, and just want to take an opportunity while we're out there. I don't know how many views you had last week on this, and hopefully word of mouth will circulate and we'll get even more views. But just to thank the guys that are out there coaching youth league football. It's going to be youth league football night. I'm certainly not rich. You've seen my truck. All right, I think I might have seen you once there at the drive-thru at McDonald's. We were both fighting over the value menu. But, I make a decent living coaching high school football. But, these guys that are out there coaching our youth league teams from flag through senior tackle, I mean, they're not getting paid anything. And, they're working a job like you, or working at a factory in town, or working for themselves, or teaching school, or whatever they're doing. And they're doing 100% of that on volunteer time. And appreciate Brian Hickey and everybody associated with Scott County Youth Football to continue to be a great feeder system for our program.
That's what this is all about. What high school football, all about, youth sports is all about, is getting everybody invested in a program like that in the community.
No doubt, dude. No doubt.
Well, thanks, Coach McKee. Thanks, viewers, for being part of this week's show. We talked to Noah Cain and Adrian Blankenship about this week's game versus Cincinnati Elder. See what they had to say. We asked Noah Cain and Adrian Blankenship to talk about the keys to last week's wild game at Fort Thomas Highlands.
We really picked it up from Pulaski County to Highlands, and we really did a good job at blocking more and executing our blocks. And we just really executed really well. And we got a little down. They come back and scored, but we had to pick up intensity, and I think we really did a good job in the fourth and carrying on in and win the game.
Coach Ryan got on to us at halftime. We picked our game up. We just played a whole lot better on D-line. We started following the pools like the coach just taught us in practice, and just play physical ball like Scott County football.
We want to get back to Scott County running everybody over, and I really like it, and I hope it keeps going.
The players feel they'll be more focused to play Elder at Toyota Stadium this year instead of on the road.
At home, I think we're going to have a lot of intensity home and fans cheering us on. Last year we went up there, we were really intimidated. They had thousands of people up there cheering for them, and it was really just overwhelming to go up there to see all the fans. It's most Scott County has ever seen, and hopefully we have more than fans here than we did up there last year.
We overhyped ourselves. This year it's just another game. We feel like we can compete with them. We got a lot of talent. And coaches told us just don't worry about everybody else, worry about the team, and we can get the W.
We have to work on our intensity level, not bringing the defense bringing us up. We got to bring ourselves up and bring the defense up instead of the defense bringing us up. And the defense did a great job. Interception brought Pulaski County game up too, and the Highlands game. And offense got to do better.
Just line up right, execute, no fumbles, make big plays when we can. Coach Keith preaches to make plays in special teams. That's what we're out to do this week.